Hey everyone, welcome to round two of Longevity March Madness, where we are going to reveal the winners from the round of 32. I know we're running a little bit behind the actual NCAA tournament. I was in New York all last week with my mom celebrating her 80th birthday. Wow, what an amazing woman for 80 years old. She kept up like a trooper, walked 20,000 plus steps a day. Such a great trip. And I think we could all take some longevity lessons from her. But for today, what we're going to do is we're going to announce the winners from the round of 32. I have not seen the results yet, so I'll be seeing them in real time as I am communicating them to you. And then we'll open up voting for the round of 16. That'll be for a couple of days. We'll announce those results, and then we'll open up the voting for the Elite Eight. And then that'll get us to the Final Four, hopefully around the time of this coming weekend to align with the actual tournament. So it's been a lot of fun so far. We've had, I think, 300 some votes come in for round two. And so now let's see what the community chose. Okay, so up first in the lifestyle bracket, we had the number 1 seed versus the number 8 seed, not smoking against sleep optimization. And the results are, I'm thinking not smoking is going to win. The results are indeed 65.5% for not smoking, 34.5% for sleep optimization. I think that's the right call. Up next is the 5 seed versus the 4 seed. Healthy body composition versus social connections. This one's a tough call. I can see a case for either one. I'm going to go with social connections. I think having friends is probably more important to overall health span than healthy body composition. Obviously, both are important. Oh, and healthy body composition wins with 58% of the vote against 42% for social connections. So I guess you guys don't feel like having friends is as important as I do. All right, up next is the 6 seed versus the 3 seed, VO2 max optimization up against Mediterranean lifestyle diet. And again here, tough call. I think I would probably go with VO2 max, but you guys disagree. This was a close one, 52% against 48%. So Mediterranean diet moves on, taking out the biomarker for mortality, VO2 max. Okay, and then in the last matchup in this bracket, the number 2 seed versus the number 7 seed, strength training up against high quality nutrition, which includes avoiding ultra processed foods. Another tough call. Both are super important. I'm going to go with strength training. Let's see what the community decided. And strength training pulls it out 62% to 38%. Okay, moving on to the medicine division. The number 1 versus the number 8 seed. Blood pressure optimization against PCSK9 inhibitors. Even though I really like PCSK9 inhibitors, I don't think this is any contest. Blood pressure optimization should win. You guys agreed, 88% to 12%. And next up, maintaining oral health against SGLT2 inhibitors. The 4 seed against the 5 seed. Again, I like SGLT2 inhibitors. I'm on an SGLT2 inhibitor, but I think taking care of your teeth and your oral health is more important to overall longevity and quality of life. So that's what I would go with. And the community agrees, 67% versus 33%. So 2/3 to 1/3 in favor of maintaining oral health. Moving on. Okay, next up, this is a tough one. The number 3 versus the number 6. Female hormone optimization goes up against GLP-1 agonists. GLP-1 agonists are great drugs. I think they have a lot of promise. But I think when we talk specifically about women, female hormone optimization is going to have a bigger effect for more women than GLP-1 agonists, in my opinion. That's what I would pick. And the community agrees, although pretty close, 58.8 against 41.2. Female hormone optimization moving on to round 3. Next up, the number 2 seed versus the number 10 seed. Vaccination goes up against proactive healthcare. This is a tricky one. Proactive healthcare could be the Cinderella story of the tournament. Many people will argue proactive healthcare includes vaccination. Vaccines save a lot of lives, have a big effect on mortality. I don't want to pick a winner here, so I'm just going to see what you guys chose. Proactive healthcare with the blowout, 70% versus 30%. The number 10 seed moving on to the Sweet 16. Look at that. Okay. Next up, in the geroscience division, we've got the 1 seed caloric restriction going against the 8 seed epigenetic reprogramming. Here, I think if we only take a look at the literature, no question caloric restriction dominates. But epigenetic reprogramming, I think, has a much higher upside if we can get around some of the real challenges about moving this into clinical practice. So I think the question really is, where do the people side? With the existing data from animals, limited data from humans, but evidence in humans that caloric restriction can slow biological aging? Or do we go with the intervention that has more promise, more upside, but is much earlier with epigenetic reprogramming? I'm an optimist. I'm going to go with the one that has more promise. So I would pick epigenetic reprogramming. Let's see what the community says. Nope. Community prefers caloric restriction and intermittent fasting, 65% to 35%. Epigenetic reprogramming doesn't even make the Sweet 16. Oh my. Okay, next up, astaxanthin versus glycine. This is a 12 seed versus a 13 seed. Neither one of these were seeded very high. Somebody's moving on to the Sweet 16. Personally, I don't really care very much about either of these. I think they're probably incremental at best. I'm guessing the community's going to go with astaxanthin just because it's a little sexier, but I think, the data is probably pretty comparable for these two molecules. Let's see what we have. No, glycine moves on, 65 against 35% for glycine moving on to the Sweet 16. Okay, this one's a little more interesting to me. TRIM, human growth hormone, going up against acarbose. So acarbose, of course, has quite a bit of human clinical literature. It's an effective anti-diabetes drug, although not used as much in the United States and in Europe. Against TRIM, which is Greg Fahey's thymic regeneration protocol that includes human growth hormone, probably the human growth hormone that's doing the thymic regeneration there. Of course, human growth hormone has been a staple of, quote unquote, longevity medicine for many years. I personally am pretty intrigued with the TRIM protocol. So there's not a ton of data yet, certainly very plausible. If you could regenerate the thymus, that's likely to have pretty large effects in humans, whereas I think acarbose is pretty limited. We already know about this drug. Its effects on longevity in people probably going to be pretty minimal. We actually probably have better drugs, SGLT2 inhibitors, I would put in that camp for metabolic health. So I'm going to go with TRIM. Let's see what you guys picked. And acarbose wins 60 to 40%. So a lot of my picks are getting upset in the round of 32. Acarbose moves on to the Sweet 16. Okay, next up, urolithin A versus rapamycin. This really shouldn't be close. Rapamycin has far more data, both preclinically and in humans, but let's see. Yes, rapamycin, 79% of the vote to urolithin A for 21% of the vote. Rapamycin moves on. Okay, moving on to the final division here, which is the biohacking / experimental therapies division. We have the number 1 seed optimization of metabolic health going up against the number 8 seed high quality multivitamin. Here I think this should not be close. Metabolic health should win. And yes, it's a complete domination, 92% for metabolic health, 8% for high quality multivitamin. Multivitamin sent packing in the round of 32. Okay, next up, sauna versus heart rate variability optimization. I don't think this one's going to be particularly close. There's not a ton of data yet that heart rate variability optimization can be used to improve health, although it's certainly plausible, whereas I think there's plenty of correlative data for sauna suggesting that regular sauna is associated with health benefits. So I would say sauna should be the winner here, and it is, but this one was pretty close, 54% against 46% for heart rate variability optimization. So Closer perhaps than the data would suggest, but in the end, sauna comes out and moves on to the Sweet 16. Next up, creatine against regular sexual activity. I like creatine. I like sex better. It's hard to vote against regular sexual activity, so that's what I'm going with. Let's see what you guys said. Yep, 64% for regular sexual activity against 36% for creatine. Sex makes the Sweet 16. All right. Next up is omega-3 optimization against environmental toxin avoidance. This is a tricky one, right? So we know that air pollution in particular can have a pretty big impact on health outcomes and on mortality. We also know that omega-3 levels are strongly correlated with mortality and a bunch of different health outcomes. I go back and forth on this one. Today, I'm going to say if you can clean up your environment, that's going to have a bigger impact on your health for more people than optimizing your omega-3. But yesterday, I would have picked omega-3. This is really a toss-up in my view. And it's not that close in the community's view. 62% for omega-3 optimization. Environmental toxin avoidance is out at the round of 32. All right, so that is it for round 2. As you can see, these matchups get tougher and tougher as we get later into the tournament. We will release the Sweet 16 poll later today, and I encourage you all to vote to see who makes the Elite 8 out of the Sweet 16. None of these are going to be easy calls, so we really need everyone to express your opinion, get your votes in, and help us pick the winners for Longevity March Madness.